In the last lecture, you learned the 7th step to creating profitable AdWords campaigns, and that is really writing effective ads. And we ran through the 6 tips here, and also I gave you the example for myself here, and really showing those benefits, those promotions, those things that really make you unique. Now you'll see here in AdWords that the next step is then to add in your keywords, and that's really what we want to cover in this lecture now. It's step number 8, the 8th step to creating your first profitable campaigns is really choosing profitable keywords. This is very important. We saw that selecting keywords is the key way that you can target your ads. So this is an important lecture. And what I'm going to do is just quickly recap on how to find keywords, the process for keyword research. I cover this in a lot of detail in the SEO section of the course, including how to use the Google Keyword Planner tool. But I'll just quickly recap on it here for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, to give you a flavor of what that is, and you can return to that. But this is where I want to spend the bulk of the time, the match types. This is one of the most expensive mistakes people make, is not making appropriate use of match types. We didn't look at this when we were talking about keyword research for SEO. It's really unique to AdWords. So this is the important part. A lot of people mess this up. And so this is really where we're going to focus our attention. But before we get into that, let's have a look at the keyword research process. Really, you want to choose keyword phrases that your customers would search for in Google. So you want to put yourself in your customers' shoes. Think about what are they actually searching for in Google. And you want to be specific. You want to avoid one-word keywords. And you want to generally look for maybe 2 to 3 word keyword phrases. Something like digital marketing course, for example. Now, there's a lot of ways that you can do keyword research. The first way that I really recommend is spy on your competitors. And when we looked at all the way back here, analyzing your PPC competition, we could see using this free tools, SpyFu, some of the keywords that our competitors are paying for. So that'll give you a great idea. If they're paying for these keywords, if they're running ads for them, then they must be good keywords, and they must be bringing in some sales for them if they're continuing to use them over and over again. So this is probably a fantastic way that you can start and understand the keywords that you should really be looking for. And also, they don't have to be direct competitors for you. For example, if you have an online course, you can look at other companies that are selling online courses for a different topic, and essentially you just need to take out their topic, pop in your topic, and then you have a big list of keywords there. You can do the same across really a number of different industries. So you can get a lot of ideas very, very quickly by spying on some competitors. You can even put in some companies in different industries just to see what are the keywords that they're looking at. So I think this is probably the easiest way that you can find the keywords, especially for AdWords. But what you can also do is come in and use the Google AdWords Keyword Planner tool. And what you will see in here, this is a free tool within AdWords. You can just click Tools, Keyword Planner to open this up. Is you can see, for example, type in a keyword, buy drones in California. You can see that it has been targeted to where I'm actually thinking of running my ad in California. And you'll see here the number of searches that term gets per month, and also the suggested bid. So if you wanted to advertise for that term, you would be paying 63 cents per click. Now, what you've got to keep in mind is that you really want to target those keywords that people are typing in who want to buy. So somebody who types in buy drones, I would imagine wants to buy a drone, but somebody who wants to maybe is typing in something like, build a drone. They are not interested in buying a drone. They might be interested in buying parts for drones, but they're not ready to buy about a drone. If you typed in something like, if they typed in something like drone review, you can see that they're maybe not ready to purchase, but that they are trying to review the options. So unless your landing pages has a review of different drones, then I wouldn't advertise for that. you can see something like a very specific product term like Parrot AOR drone. And let's see if I type this in, buy this. You can imagine that someone typing this into Google is really ready to buy. And in California, there's a low amount of searches, but I'm sure if we extend that out, you get the idea anyway. The key thing is just, where are people in the buying cycle? Are they just becoming aware of drones or whatever your product or service is, or are they really at the end of it? They understand some of the options. They're ready to buy that course, that product, etc. So really keep in mind the searcher's intent and just put yourself in their shoes. If you were typing that into Google, what do you think would you be ready to buy, or would you just be learning about it? So that is just a quick recap on the keyword research process. I covered it in a lot of detail in the SEO section of the course. So perhaps return to that if you want more detail and the exact steps to carry out that. What I really want to focus on though in this lecture is match types and explaining these, and especially how you signal these match types to AdWords in this little box here, because there's not a huge amount of guidance on it. And I think this is why people make so many mistakes on it. Inside of AdWords, there are really 5 different main match types that you can select. And really, by choosing these match types, you choose where your ads are displayed. It's essentially a way to target your advertisements. And do you want your advertisements to only show to people who type in exactly the keyword that you've suggested, or can be a little bit broader and broader? I think a good way to really just explain this is to show you this example here. It's from neilpatel.com. I think it's a great visual representation of these different match types. And then I'll show you as well as we go along with how you would add this into Google AdWords to signal to them that you want this match type. One key thing is that by default, keywords are broad match to searches to help you capture a wider range of relevant traffic. Now they say this like this is an extremely positive thing, but what you've got to remember is that if you type in your keyword, just something like digital marketing course, by default your ads will be matched to a very broad set of searches who people search for that. So let us look at this example as well. If your keyword is just formal shoes or digital marketing course and you've typed it in just like this, then your ad will be matched to something like formal footwear, evening footwear, men's dress, wingtips. So you can see that if you take Google's suggestion and just have a broad match, you could be showing your ad to a really broad set of people who could be searching for a lot of different things and at a lot of different stages in the buying cycle. So you probably do not want to do that unless you want to spend a lot of money and not get conversions and sales on your site, because it's very broad and spending could really go out of control. Now the next thing that you can do is called a modified broad keyword, where you really put in this little plus sign in front of your keyword. So for example, the way that you enter this into Google AdWords is to take, say, the same phrase, but you can put in that whatever the search is, it has to have the word marketing in it. And you can see that that is the way you signal that with a little plus sign. This is called a modified broad match. And you can see that that's a little bit narrower. Now, if I want to make that even more specific, then I can put that plus sign in front of the other words in here as well. So if the term that they type into Google has to have marketing course in it, then that's going to narrow it. And you can see that if I can put it on the other word as well, so digital marketing course. So whatever they search for has to really include those terms there. Now, the next narrowest way that you can target your ads is really using a phrase match. And really how this works is that the exact phrase and order of that phrase has to appear here. So for example, if I put in quotation marks, digital marketing course, that means that somebody would have to type in that exact phrase into Google. Now they could put a word before it, like best digital marketing course. They could put a word after it saying best digital marketing course online, but those words would have to appear in that order. In using this modified match, the words could appear in a different order, and also there could be words, say, in between here, like digital online marketing course, or I'm not sure what the words would be, but you can see that these three words can be in their search in any order, and also there can be other words in between here. So that gives me more flexibility essentially. This match here is much stricter, and they have to type this word, this phrase in that exact format. So as you can see really with this illustration, that is much narrower. It's a phrase match, and that can be a little bit restrictive and can maybe not get your ad showed to a lot of relevant people. Now the narrowest targeting that you can do for your keywords is really using an exact match, which really means that only people typing in this exact phrase can see my ad. So using my example here once again, just to illustrate this, inside of AdWords, what you do, you use the square brackets, and so only people typing that exact phrase, no words before, no words after, in that exact order, will see my ad. So that's the narrowest type of phrase match there. And I've put in these indicators here as well. Broad match, very broad. Phrase match, use the quotations, square brackets for exact match, and that's really it. So what do I suggest you do? I would suggest you really go with the broad modifier match and really add the plus sign in front of your keywords. So what I've got here, I'm going to take this out. I've done a little bit of keyword research myself, and I've got a bunch of keywords here now that I want to add in. So I'm going to just open these up, and I've got about 10 keywords here. And so you can see if I added them straight in now, that by default that they are all broad matched, which means my ads are going to be displayed to a lot of different people, different stages of the buying cycle. So I want to make sure that all of these words have to appear in the person's search. So I'm just going to put the plus sign in front of every single one of them here. And that is really going to narrow my targeting down, but not narrow it too much where it's restrictive and where I'm really going to get only very few people seeing my ads. So I suggest you do the same thing. First you find your set of keywords, and then you can add them in here, and then you just literally need to put these plus signs in front of them. These plus signs can save you hundreds of dollars because they would just really narrow your search. So that is really the process, and I hope by now you understand the difference between the types of phrase match. You can see it's not that it's not that obvious, and there's only a little indicator of it here and a little link to the match type. So you really need to be careful when you're coming in here and setting up your ads in order to do that. Also, you'll notice here at the side of the ads that there are some suggested keywords, and you might be thinking, great, yeah, I'll add those in, but you'll see that those are all by default broad matched. So once again, you could be really showing your ads to a lot of not relevant people if you just left it like that. All right, so that is really how to choose your profitable keywords. Keep in mind that keyword research process, and also this is the very important part for AdWords, selecting the right match types. This is where people make a lot of mistakes. Now that I've got my keywords added in, I can just save the ad group. And that was really the last piece of the puzzle that I really needed to add in there. So we'll pick up here in the next lecture where we're going to explore this and also look at some of the advanced campaign settings.